Good evening. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of the Morristown area, the NAACP of Morris County, and the Observer Tribune of New Jersey Hills Media Group, I am pleased to welcome you to our Harding Township Board of Education Forum. My name is Zach Serban. I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of the Morristown area. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization. Therefore, we never support or oppose political parties or candidates. Elections and voting are our core concerns. Empowering voters and defending democracy is our mission. We are committed to providing fact-based information to help voters make their own decisions and participate in the electoral process. Membership in the League is open to all gender identities. We welcome volunteers whether or not you are a member. With 100 years of experience, the League is one of America's oldest and most trusted civic nonprofit organizations. I welcome Vanessa Brown to say a few words as president of the NAACP Morris County chapter.
Thank you, Zach. Good evening, everyone. Thank you again for the opportunity to allow the public to ask you questions. I commend you all for participating in the process. That's the only way we're going to know something. My name is Vanessa Brown. I am the president of the Morris County NAACP and the third vice president of the New Jersey State Conference of the NAACP. And for housekeeping, if you are around, please come to the Sheraton in Parsippany this weekend. We are having our annual convention. You are all welcome to come. Admission is $175, but it includes everything you would want to see or enjoy and partake in. The NAACP is the oldest, and the baddest civil rights organization in America. We were founded on February 12, 1909, and it came out, it was birthed because a lot of people got sick and tired of being sick and tired of all the lynchings that were going on. So they formed the organization to combat the inequalities and the racism and the prejudices. So we're very, should I say, nonpartisan, but very political. Please come join us, become a member, become a volunteer. It's very inexpensive and it's annual dues if you choose to do so. We look forward to you to continue in the process. Good luck to all of you. Do your best, and whoever wins, we will be watching at that point as well. So again, all the best to you this evening, and I'm sure the community is very happy that you took part in this activity. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. We encourage everyone to go to vote411.org, a one-stop site for information on all aspects of voting in New Jersey, including statements on the issues from your candidates. And please visit our website to learn more about the Morristown Area League. This forum is being live streamed on the Morristown Area League of Women Voters YouTube channel and will be available there for viewing afterwards. We encourage the sharing of the League's recording of this event in its entirety, but do not allow editing or making public any excerpts from the recording. Please silence your phones. Refrain from taking photos or videos during the forum, and please do not post on social media. The League name, logo, event recording, or any materials from the event cannot be used in a way that could lead a viewer or reader to infer League support or opposition to a candidacy. Remember to make your vote count in one of three ways. Vote by mail ballot, if you signed up for that, or early in-person voting using a voting machine from October 28th to November 5th, or in-person voting on Tuesday, November 7th. At this time, I would like to introduce our moderator, Ann Armstrong. Ann is a League trained who is not from this voting district. She will introduce the candidates and outline the format.
Good evening. Thank you and welcome. We have with us today 3 candidates vying for 2 seats on the Harding Township Board of Education. The format today is as follows. Each candidate will give a brief opening statement. Then, submitted questions will be asked of all candidates. If you'd like to submit a question, please raise your hand and someone will give you a 3x5 card to put it on, or there are 3x5 cards out there. Zach? Raise your hand, okay. And then they'll bring the cards up to me. We have questions that were submitted beforehand, but if you want any from today, or to submit them today, then please raise your hand. Sorry. When we get to those questions, each candidate will be given a set time to answer each question. After all candidates have responded to a question, a rebuttal will be allowed, but not required by each candidate. I've already said submit a question. After the question and answer period, the candidates will give a brief closing statement. The candidates for Harding Township Board of Education are Alexander Anastasio, George Boyan, and Abhi Singh. We will begin with the opening statement of George Boyan.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming out tonight. Thank you to the League of Women Voters. Thank you, Zach, you're a model citizen. Good work. Thank you to the NAACP, Vanessa, thank you, and to the New Jersey Hills Media Group. I want to submit to everyone, I have the world of respect for these two gentlemen sitting to my left. Anybody who leaves their family at dinner time or to come to a Board of Education meeting deserves all of our respect. But I think you'll hear a different posture from me coming as the challenger to this race. Instead of more of the same, you'll hear a challenge of the status quo and a plan for constant improvement. A little bit about me first. My first job out of school was in Morristown. I was a gopher for a trading desk, and one of our favorite places for lunch was the Green Village Deli. That's when I was introduced to Harding. From then on in, I worked every day to be able to afford to raise my family in Harding Township, and in 2016, that dream came true when we purchased our home on Millbrook Road and began to live our dream. A little bit about my qualifications. I'm a licensed attorney and able to navigate the maze of laws, regulations, and guidance promulgated by training. I'm a CPA, CFO of a $2.5 billion community bank based right in New Jersey. I'm a father of two, and the product of public education and married a school teacher of 16 years. As far as community involvement is concerned, I currently sit on the Board of Adjustment. I previously sat on the Board of Health, the Hurstman Redevelopment Committee, the rebooter of the Republican Club in town, and the trustee of the Civic Association. And my campaign is based on 4 simple principles that I call upholding Harding's values. And that's transparency, accountability, school parental rights. I'm going to hit 2 of those in the limited amount of time I have here. And with respect to accountability, we need to keep Madison High School accountable, or we need to be able to seek alternatives. Madison High School is not the great school it once was. It is ranked number 40th in the state, down 6 spots this year. I think we need to remove our exclusivity from the Madison contract and allow our students and parents to choose where they go to school. Second, school safety. Police chief in town conducted a drill, and inadequate cell phone service disrupted their response.
Thank you so much. Abhi Singh.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Abhi Singh. I am running for the Harding Township Board of Education. This will be my 4th term if I were to get elected. So I come from a background with a lot of experience in the matters of how to run an efficient and very functional and very highly performing school district. My wife and I have been living in Harding for about 20 years now. We moved here as a couple from a major metropolitan area. We started a family. We have 3 kids. Now 2 of them who have actually gone through Harding, and 1 who still remains in Harding in 7th grade. My kids have been able to benefit greatly from the wonderful community and school that Harding is. We have greatly benefited from the experiences that they have had. They have managed to get a world-class education. And Harding, there's nothing that they were lacking for while they were students in this school system. It's a great place to have kids go through school. It's only up to K through 8, but we have a great option of sending our kids to Madison High School for high school. So just a little bit more about myself. I am a mechanical engineer by training. Graduate from Cornell University. I worked in the tech industry and financial services industry for a very long time. I have an MBA from the University of Chicago, so I'm very familiar with a lot of how to run an organization. I run my own business at the moment, so aware of all the requirements that you need to run an entire business. So my signature statement about Harding, or being on the Harding Township Board of Education, that I've managed a transition in leadership in Harding and in Madison a few times now, and that is something that is greatly beneficial for the community, and I think we will see something similar come up in Madison soon. And that's something that, my unique experience allows me to be able to take advantage of.
Thank you.
Hi,
Alex?
my name is Alexander Anastasio. I'm the current Vice President of the Harding Township Board of Education. I grew up in nearby Millburn, New Jersey, graduated from Millburn High School, Drew University, and Rutgers School of Dental Medicine. I'm a practicing pediatric dentist with offices in Millburn and Bedminster, and I'm a part-time clinical professor at Rutgers School of Dental Medicine. My wife Catherine and I moved to Harding in 2011 while my wife was pregnant with our daughter Gemma. Gemma's now 12 and in 6th grade here at Harding, while our son Andrew is 9 and in 4th grade here at Harding. We've been very involved in community activities since our arrival. Catherine has served as co-secretary for the Harding Township PTO and class captain for 4th grade currently. We were also co-commissioners of the Harding Township Recreation T-Ball for 3 years. We're in a wonderful, wonderful place as a school district. We rank among the highest elementary and middle schools in the country, on niche.com. Our elementary school is ranked 43 out of 1,408 public schools in New Jersey, and our middle school is ranked 22 out of 746. Our elementary and middle schools are both ranked number 2 in Morris County, and both our elementary and middle school teachers are ranked number 1 in Morris County. It is a huge testament to our administration and our teachers and to the Board of Ed that we are able to keep our district performing at such a high level while keeping our property taxes so low here in Harding. We really act in a fiscally responsible manner. We recently put in a state-of-the-art STEM lab, and that was entirely funded by public donations, leased financed equipment, and funds that were already in our budget. And we did that to the tune of $750,000. In the 12 years we've lived in Harding, we've never had to go to referendum for school budget items. And I think that is a great testament to how fiscally responsibly we run this district. That cannot be said of any of our neighboring districts that perform at such a high level. I hope that you consider me for another term on the Harding Board of Education. Thank you so
very
much.
much. Okay, it's time for the submitted questions. Gentlemen. The League of Women Voters received a question from a community member concerning the cell phone tower on school property. Evidently, the school board decided not to speak with the cell phone provider. Could you comment about how you would like to have had the school board deal with this situation? Abhi Singh, you're first.
Sure.
1 minute.
The town of Harding has been struggling with the issue of the cell phone tower for 20 years now. The question of where it should be located has been something that many members of the community have been tussling over for a very long time now. At one point, there was a thought that the cell phone tower could be placed on the Harding Township school property, and that was a discussion that our chief executive, our superintendent had with the cell phone company at that time. At the end of the day, that is a problem for the town to resolve, not necessarily for the Harding Township School to resolve. And from what I understand, the location there has been a location that's been chosen after years and years of debate, all sorts of litigation, et cetera, and that is not on the premises of the Harding Township School.
Thank you. George Boyan.
There is no greater responsibility the school system has than to protect the students who attend it. Without cell phone service, you can pull out your phones right now. You probably don't have service. So if there was an event right now, there wouldn't be an opportunity for any one of us to call the police department. That's why Sheriff Gannon, the sheriff of the Morris County Sheriff's Office, has endorsed my campaign because I have a plan to improve the cell phone service and the overall safety of the school environment. The second reason he's endorsed me is because he's created a free app that students can use to report school violence. 75% of school violence, there's some leakage that occurs. A student tells another student about it beforehand. The RSVP3 program is a free app that he wants to put in the hands of the students to acknowledge and to report security incidents before they happen. Harding has not participated in that. So there are two things that I would do to improve the school safety here in Harding.
Thank you. Alex?
We don't need a cell phone tower on school property. It was proposed to put it on the back field. I would like to put an athletic track on the back field instead. We do not need it for school safety. I have a quote from the current chief of police of Harding that says, FYI, no problems with communications at our school using the police department radios. All buildings tested loud and clear. That's from Michael Gromick. That test was who was the chief of police. That test was conducted on Thursday, September 21st. We don't use cell phone service for emergency communications here at the school. Every classroom has a hardwired phone that calls the main office. The main office has a panic button that alerts all of the necessary authorities. One cell phone carrier has relatively poor service here at the school. That would be Verizon. AT&T and T-Mobile are fine. We do not rely on an app for emergency communications either. We don't allow our students to have cell phones here because they're a major distraction. So an app that a student would go on to notify anyone of an emergency or school violence would not be necessary.
Okay.
That is a high school-based app that is really designed for high school students who
Thank you.
have access to their cell phones on a daily basis.
Thank you very much. Any rebuttal?
We'll get 1 minute rebuttal or 30-second
30-second rebuttal, yes, go ahead.
So the fact is, I have T-Mobile and I have zero service in the building right now. So if I wanted to report a gunman on the property, I couldn't do it.
Anyone else?
It's great if there's opportunities for someone who has a hardwired service or a teacher or administrator, but if I'm standing in the car line and I'm picking up my kid and I see something, I don't have the opportunity to say something. And the fact is, kids don't just use their cell phones in school. I understand they're precluded from doing so, but if you hear something at home, you hear something any time of the day or night, it goes straight to the sheriff's office. And you can do something before there's an issue.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else? Rebuttal? Yes.
Yeah, once again, we have plenty of security in cooperation with the Harding Township Police Department. They have repeatedly come on campus and verified that their systems work, and they work extremely well. We've had multiple security surveys done that also have validated this information. So there's really no need to have a cell phone tower on the premises and not to have this app, which is really designed for older students. Last thing we want is a number of kindergartners and middle schoolers to have access to this app.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Alex, you have a rebuttal?
If you're in the car line and you see something that concerns you, you can go to the officer who's there. There's always an officer there at dismissal. They're in the road directing traffic. So again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. If I did not feel safe sending my kids to this school day in and day out, they wouldn't be coming here.
Okay, thank you very much. Next question. We all know that education is not just limited to the classroom, but also outside activities. Can you speak about the extracurricular activities offered at HTS? I guess that's Harding Township School. Okay. And George, you'll be first. Extracurricular activities is the question.
The fact is, the Harding Township Schools, both in a curricular and extracurricular fashion, do an outstanding job with our students. The teachers are terrific, the extracurriculars are terrific, and I think compliments to Dr. Spelker and the team that he's put together. The extracurricular activities here are fantastic. Could we always do more? Yeah, probably, but I have a hard time making any criticism whatsoever of the extracurricular activities. They're fantastic. So kudos to Dr. Spelker and his staff.
Thank you. Alexander Anastasio?
We offer wonderful athletic programs. We have field hockey team that's going on now, boys and girls basketball teams, so on and so forth, soccer. Not every middle school continues to offer those in the present day. We have continued to do so. I think that's a huge testament to our school system. We recently also added an elective, which is for coding and robotics for our middle school students. So they're getting exposure to coding and to robotics, and we hope to one day have a robotics team here. So I think those are incredible recent advancements as far as our extracurricular activities.
Thank you. Abhi Singh?
Once again, I reiterate what my other members of this panel have said. Harding Township School has an incredible array of activities available for our students. It's a relatively small school district, but there's nothing that the kids are lacking for. We have a full range of sports activities, academic activities, extracurricular activities, and we continue to add them. Just in the last few years, we added a play for kindergartners because that was something that was not available to them. So we continue to look at other activities that might be of interest to students and add them. And also we work with other local organizations like Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts to allow them to use our facilities to continue offering an additional, slate of activities. I think we should consider our kids, if your kids do go here, to be exceptionally lucky in terms of the amount and the variety of activities that they have available both during the class day and after school, if they so choose to utilize those.
Thank you. Next question. What approach would you use to renegotiate the send-receive relationship with Madison High School? Alex Anastasio, you're first. Negotiating the send-receive.
I think that going forward, we need to really explore all of our options regarding our send-receive contract. I know there's been some concern in the community regarding the performance of Madison recently, also the kind of turmoil that's gone on at their Board of Education level and their superintendent level. I think that we always have, as a board and as a school community, the best interest of our students at heart, and we will explore all opportunities for our students, whether that is to have them continue going to Madison or to negotiate a send-receive with another district.
Okay, thank you. George, Boyd?
Yeah, I'll repeat what I said earlier, in that Madison is not the great school district it once was. It's continuously fallen in the U.S. News and World Reports. Their $86 million referendum is an admission that they haven't really cared for their buildings in decades. I would lead the charge to remove that exclusivity and follow the precedent set by both Saddle River and Franklin Lakes that allow students to choose the school district that they go to. Again, these districts allow their K through 8 students to choose from a variety of different high schools in town. And I would seek to do that, to renegotiate with them prior to the expiration of the contract, but most certainly I would do it at the expiration of the contract. And furthermore, I would never rip a family away from Madison if they wanted to go there. If you're going into your junior, senior year and you want to finish, more power to you. Let's find a way to make that happen. There's precedent in the state to do it. I would do it here in Harding.
Thank you. Abhi Singh?
Sure. So I guess I'm one of the few people who've actually negotiated a send-receive contract. The last one was done 4 years ago, and there are a lot of factors in a send-receive contract that can be negotiated. We actually negotiated huge savings for ourselves by going from a fixed price contract, which was the one that was in force before this current contract, to one where now we pay on a per student basis. So our expenses or monies that we send to them change as the number of students change. And that was a huge benefit to the Harding Township School, because we were able to save quite a significant amount of money. In terms of looking at other opportunities, that is something that we continuously do. We monitor exactly what's going on in Madison all the time, and we are quite aware that they have issues. But I think something to keep in mind is that there are issues on the administrative board level, and there are also not that there are issues, but the school itself still continues to deliver a quality product for its students.
Okay.
They continue to place kids in the Ivies. They continue to place school
Thank
kids
you.
at home.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Any rebuttal? Yes, Mr. Boyd?
Part of the reason why we're saving money, again, to Avi's credit, is because we have a per student basis. But the fact is, many parents are voting with their feet, and they're not sending their students to Madison High School anymore. That results in a cost savings for Harding, but it also results in the parents having to pay between $25,000 and $40,000 a year for that education. Why wouldn't we negotiate directly with Chatham, who's ranked number 21 in the better, almost half, twice as good as Madison, from number 40 to number 21. I would approach Chatham tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Abhi, would you like to take the 30 seconds to complete whatever you were starting to say as a rebuttal?
Sure. Actually, I'm going to
Okay.
add to the comments. Madison High School has gone up and down in rankings over the years. There's no question about that. But yet, to the students, continues to deliver a quality product. And that is something that we have to keep in mind as we look at our relationship with Madison. But of course, as we have said, as a sitting board member, I cannot discuss some of the things that we are thinking about, but we are looking at other options, and we'll continue to do so.
Thank you very much.
Just to add to what Abby said, we as a board, some months ago, started down the road of investigating other options, and we formally commissioned an advisory, consultative, and deliberative feasibility study from an outside educational expert to provide the Harding Township Board of Education with its options and potential alternatives for Madison.
Thank you very much. Next question. Please comment on the school's academic performance. Academic is underlined here. And teacher quality recognition. We'll begin with Alex. Alex Anastasia.
As I mentioned before, our teachers are the finest out there. They are ranked #1 as far as in all of Morris County for both our elementary and our middle school teachers. Our academic performance is fabulous. I believe in parental rights, and I think a huge parental right is your choice as a parent to send your child to either public or private high school. Our students continually get into the finest private high schools in the area. Pingree, Del Barton, Oak Knoll, York Academy, the list goes on and on. So our academic performance, I think, is wonderful, and our teachers are the reason it's wonderful.
Thank you. Abhi Singh.
I think I'm going to echo a lot of what Alex has said. We have one of the best teacher groups around. They make what Harding is. They work fantastically well with the administration. They work fantastically well with the parents in all the aspects of our child's development. And, you know, I've had now kids in the school system for more than 12 years, and I've seen each one of them develop, learn, continue to learn, and flourish as students because of what the teachers at Harding have afforded them. They are a great resource. They do a fantastic job, and the academics shows. We continuously do well in all our rankings. Even our results in the standardized testing show that Harding suffered way less in the last few years during the pandemic than some of the surrounding school districts. Even though we had to go offline and do all those type of things, our kids came out on top. They are doing great compared to some of the others.
Thank you. George Boyan, academic.
I agree with everything that Alex and Avi had said, but however, the answer is incomplete. The K-8 teachers are top notch. Every teacher my kid has had is just as good, if not better, than the last one. So again, a credit to Dr. Spelker, a credit to everybody who works here in Harding, but it's an incomplete answer because we are responsible for our 9th through 12th graders that go to Madison. And unfortunately, I can't say the same for over there. Again, it's not me speaking. This is U.S. News and World Report who says that Madison has gone down 6 rankings in the past year to number 40 in the state. I'm not comfortable with being number 40. I want to send my kids to a better high school. I don't have the $40,000 a year maybe that Avi has times 2 to send their kids to private school. We're going to send our kids to public high school because that's where I went to public high school. I went to public college. I went to public grad school. But the fact of the matter is we can do better. For the same or similar price, we can send our kids to Chatham who are ranked number 20, 21. Why wouldn't we do that today?
Okay, thank you. Any rebuttal?
I'd just like to say that again, I think that every parent has the right to choose to send their kids to private school, and I don't see why you're considering that to be a negative. We have some of the finest private schools in this area in the whole state, and I just think that you say that you're for parental rights, but a parental right is the ability to choose to send your child to whatever school, whether that be public or private.
Thank you. Anyone else? Rebuttal. 30 seconds.
Each parent has absolutely the right to send their kids to a private or public high school. But the fact of the matter is, as a Board of Education member, we're responsible for giving our kids the best public education that we possibly can. And by continuing to send them to Madison, that's a level of complacency that I'm not comfortable with. We have to do better. And if there's a neighboring town that is number 21 versus number 40, we ought to do everything in our power to give our parents and their students the option to attend that school instead.
Thank you very much. Bobby, 30 seconds.
So, George keeps making a big deal about U.S. News rankings. Those change. Prior to last year, Madison was an upward swing. It had been an upward swing for the last 5 years with the appointment of a new superintendent that I helped also bring into that school district. every school district has hiccups. It doesn't mean that we have to throw out everything that we have in common with them. There is an opportunity for us to look at other school districts for sure, but Madison continues to be a great place for our kids.
Okay,
Let's
thank you very
continue
much.
to allow them to be an option.
I'm sorry, you had your 30 seconds. Next question. Do you support or oppose the state policy 5756 on trans students? Abhi Singh, we'll start with you. Do you support or oppose New Jersey state policy on trans students?
I support the policy.
Okay, that's good enough. If you want to add more, you may. Alexander Anastasio?
I don't support blanket policies. I don't support one that states that we cannot inform a parent that their student is changing their pronouns, and I don't support one that says we must. It needs to be brought to the school level, to the district level, where we can make an informed decision based on multiple factors of how best to communicate with the parent or guardian and to protect that student and do what's best for that student. I really support a policy that would bring counseling for the student on how best to disclose to their parents the changes. I also would want one that would determine the risk of physical or emotional harm or abuse associated with telling that family.
Okay. George Boyan?
I oppose it flat out. I do not believe it is mandatory. I believe that the statutory interpretation by a little-known policy writing company called Strauss-Esme says that it's mandatory, but if you go back and read this legislation, it is not mandatory. I think that students do best when parents, teachers, and those students come together for the best outcome. And I think any policy that precludes the administration or the parents or the student or the teachers from telling the parents about a situation that affects the child's health and well-being is a travesty. So I would also support an additional policy that requires administrators and staff to inform parents when students disclose an issue or exhibit behaviors that may have an adverse impact on that child's health, safety, and well-being. And the fact of the matter is the two individuals to my left voted yes on the existing transgender policy.
Thank you. Any rebuttal?
Yes.
Go ahead.
We did not vote. Strauss-Esme, who by the way is not a little-known policy making company. They've been making policy and policy guidelines for New Jersey schools for 50 years, and they do it for over 200 districts, okay? They came and said the policy was mandatory and it was an essential policy. It was adapted into our policies. We did not approve it. I do have a concern though that, so George, you're saying that if there was a risk of physical or psychological harm to a child, that if the school disclosed that they were changing their pronouns to the parent, you would allow the parent
All right.
has the right to know, even if it puts the child in harm's way.
All right, Alex, thank you very much. 30 seconds is up. Anyone else?
So I would like to add, again, I voted for the policy. I believe that our parents are partners in the education of their kids. And in that context, we, as the school, have an obligation to work with them to make sure that the kids get all the support that they need.
Okay, thank you. George, any 30 seconds?
The way that the policy is crafted today is a teacher would be subject to dismissal if they picked up the phone and told a parent about the situation affecting their kid. I think that is a bad policy, and it puts the teachers in a bad position. I would remove the policy.
Thank you very much. Next question. And it's a long one, but I'm kind of just going to give you the gist of it because I think that's all we really need. Would each of you please respond on how you bring the members of the board and the school administration together to effect positive change? Abhi Singh, we'll start with you.
I think over my last 3 terms on the board, I've worked with the administration to make a lot of changes in the school district to make both Harding a township school to be a much more welcoming and effective and educational place. I think the highlight of that would be changing the leadership when I joined the Harding Township Board, again 9 years ago. Bringing in Dr. Spelker, who has been a very effective chief executive for the district, and working with him closely to make sure that we are able to tailor our education, and everything that we do in the school district for the benefit of our kids. That's the number one priority for me, making sure that the kids get a world-class education, that they're comfortable, they enjoy coming to school, and this is their second home, home away from home.
George Boyan.
In my career in business, my colleagues would know me as a consensus builder. I have strong feelings, I have strong opinions, but I'm 100% transparent. Everybody always knows where I stand. And that is a way that builds trust among camaraderies and among different constituents, whether it's the electorate or whether it's other board members or it's the teachers or the parents. You have to build consensus, and you have to let people know exactly where you stand, call balls and strikes as you see them. And to the extent that you can build that consensus, listen, if elected, I may be on the minority side of several votes, and that's okay with me, but I've discharged my obligation to the voters to tell people what I think, and by being 100% transparent all the time.
Alex Anastasio.
We as a board work very well, and we're a very high-performing, award-winning board. And the reason for that is we've kept politics and personal politics off of the board. People have different views on the board. Some are more conservative, some are more liberal. But we understand that the Board of Education is not a place for partisan politics. It is a place to benefit every child in our district. It is a place for families to feel that this is a welcoming district that has everyone's best interest in mind, regardless of where they stand on a myriad of issues. We're here for everyone.
Thank you very much. Any rebuttals? Let's go to the next one. What role should the school board play in selecting reading material for class instruction in the school library? Abhi Singh, we're beginning with you. Reading material.
So I think we have to take a step back and understand what the role of the Board of Education is. The Board of Education is a policy-making body. We have the responsibility to hire an administration, actually just really to hire a chief executive, in our case, the superintendent, Dr. Spelter, to then execute the rest of the policies that we have put into place. It is not our responsibility to be going into the weeds, so to speak, and selecting different material or curricula that are specific to, whatever reading material or math or whatever material that may be required. That is, actually, not surprising, that's one of the big issues in the Madison board. A lot of folks on the Madison board would like to get into the weeds. We, as a Harding board, have made a very conscious decision to make sure that we understand what our role is within the school district and stick to it.
Thank you very much. George Boyan. Okay.
Frankly, I think that was well said, but again, once again, incomplete. I agree, it's a policy-making board. So let's set up the framework by which we're asking the administration to evaluate the materials. Of course, the Board of Education should not be selecting curriculum or library books or textbooks or anything like that. But we set up the lens by which the administration executes upon that. In addition to that, I would call for full transparency. Let's put online a list of every library book, and let's put online the entire curriculum for each grade level. That gives the parents the ability to censor or to look at what their students are reading. And again, that full transparency allows the parental rights to have a front seat in the child's education. So I agree with everything that Abhi said, but it's also the full transparency, which I think is an important component of all this.
Alexander.
I agree with everything that Abhi said. We are here to provide oversight and a system of checks and balances. We have a director of curriculum who also is our principal. We have a superintendent. Materials chosen by our teachers are chosen for specific reasons. They're reviewed by our director of curriculum. They're deemed to be appropriate.
Okay, thank you. Next question. What, if any, changes would you like to make to the school district curriculum? George Boyan, we'll start with you.
Again, for all the reasons I just mentioned, there are no changes that I would make to the curriculum, except for the fact of full transparency. I think, my kids have gotten an outstanding education. My oldest is in the 3rd grade, so again, we're talking about the K through 8 is outstanding. The curriculum at the high school leaves a lot to be desired for all the reasons I've already mentioned that I won't rehash. But the fact of the matter is the Board of Education should be setting the policy-making framework and allowing the superintendent and his director of curriculum to implement that framework.
Thank you. Alexander Anastasio.
Again, I think I've pretty much already answered. I'm very happy with the curriculum. I'm very happy with the education that my children receive here. We're a super high-performing district, and I see no, compelling need for change.
Thank you. Abhi Singh.
Once again, having had my kids go through Harding number 3 going through this, there are of course some small tweaks that I would make in the curriculum at every grade level, but nothing on an overall basis. And again, this is very important to keep in mind, is I represent, obviously I am a father of 3 kids, but on the Board of Ed, I also have responsibility for all the other 330 odd kids in our school district, including the kids in Madison. And we have to keep that in mind as you make decisions about the curriculum and the improvements that you may want to make. Something that's beneficial to one group of students may not be always beneficial to another group of students. So we have to always keep a balancing act in the policies and the thoughts that we have in terms of educating our kids and make sure that everybody is getting the best possible education no matter where they are. Everybody, that is in terms of the kids.
Okay, thank you very much. Next question. It's going to be hard for me, but here goes. We're talking about encouraging women, young girls, to the STEM fields to study science, engineering, and math. What is the school doing well, and how could it do better in this area? Alex Anastasio, you'll start.
Sure. First of all, we put in a state-of-the-art STEM lab, so I think that's definitely a step in the right direction. I think what we can do, what we have done, and what we should continue to do is make those topics fun and engaging for our students. Not only our female, but obviously our male students as well. The coding and robotics elective, I think, is a step in that direction. Having a robotics team in the future, which I mentioned previously, would also be a great step in that direction. When you make, as someone who was a science major all through college, and then went into dentistry, science is boring if you don't make it fun. you need to make it, you need to get the kids involved. You need to blow up things and shoot off rockets. Thank you.
Thank you. Abhi Singh?
So my oldest is a daughter who went through Harding Township School, and during the 8 years that she was here, I don't think she ever felt that she did not have exposure or an interest in STEM-related activities. She did as much as the boys. Actually, did more than some of the boys. And I think that's a hallmark of this school. And the teachers and the administration, we provide a STEM education for kids if they so choose, if they're so interested, on a gender neutral basis, right? Boys, girls, it really doesn't matter. We are encouraging them to go to coding clubs, robotics. We had a few years ago, I think it was almost an all-girls team that won the City of the Future Award. And out of those 3 or 4 girls, all of them went on to huge success in Madison, in Pingree, and other schools. So that is something that this school district delivers in Lowe's.
Thank you. George Boyan?
STEM is a field that's important for everyone, boys and girls alike. In particular, my 8-year-old 3rd grader came home from school yesterday and whipped a piece of paper out of her folder and said, Daddy, there's this STEM project that we're going to do in October. And I said, oh, tell me about it. And she says, well, it's optional. And I said, are you going to do it? And she said, you bet. She looked at me with these big eyes. So she's excited about STEM. And that is a testament, again, to the teachers and to the administration that we have here in Harding, at the K through 8 level, and I couldn't be more appreciative of everything they do. So I'm looking forward to my kindergartner, my young boy at 5 years old, to have the same sort of excitement, but I'm sure that he will, both male and female. And I think that the STEM program here is exceptional.
Thank you. Next question. This may be the last question, and I'm trying to read it here. Many of the families in town want to send their kids to private school. Are the Harding Township School kids competitive to get into these schools? Are they prepared to succeed at Madison High School? So I guess it's kind of talking about the success of the kids, which you've been talking about, but let's direct it specifically to sending them to either private, are they prepared to succeed at Madison High School? Abhi Singh, we'll start with you.
Sure. So I guess I have the experience of not having kids gone to Madison, but my kids did go to private school, and Harding prepared them extremely well for their successes in private school. I have a junior at Pingree at the moment, and he continues to excel in all the areas that he has undertaken at Pingree, and I'm sure Pingree is ranked, again, in the very top echelons of private schools in the state and in the country. And I have direct experience with a lot of other kids who have gone to Madison. A lot of my friends' kids, I mean, we have had families where one kid went to private school, one kid and the other kid went to Madison. And they have also had enormous success in Madison. I think if you look at the top academic achieving students in Madison, frequently it's a list of kids who graduated from Harding. And I think that's
Thank you very much. Yes, George Boyan.
I think the data speaks volumes about the preparedness of our 8th graders to go to any high school they want. The data suggests that you can get into any area private high school that you want to. As a Board of Education member, though, I'm concerned also with the students that go to the public high school. And the data also suggests that our students run circles around the Madison students at Madison High School, and that's because they do a poor job of developing their students to go to high school with our students. Yes, we're outpacing them, and that's terrific, but we ought to give our students the opportunity and the choice to determine what public high school in our area that we want to send them to. But I've said that probably 4 or 5 times already tonight, so I'll spare you any further. Thank you.
Alex Anastasia.
I disagree with that. I think our students performing so well at Madison is not because they're receiving a poor education in Madison, it's because they're smart. A couple of years ago, we had a salutatorian graduate in Madison who's now in the Ivy League. Just today it was announced that a Harding graduate is a national merit semifinalist. You don't get to be a national merit semifinalist by what you learned in K through 8. You get to be there, or you achieve that by what you learned in high school. So again, I do think that there are some issues at Madison, but our students still get an excellent education at Madison.
Thank you. All right. I'd like to thank those in the audience and the residents that submitted questions. More questions were submitted than we had time to include due to our available limited time frame. An attempt was made to consolidate questions wherever possible. We will now have the candidates' closing statements, beginning with George Boyer.
I believe I started the opening statement, so that would make me last at the closing statements, right?
Yes, 2 minutes is right. Did I go backwards? Sorry.
Okay, that's
I'm sorry.
no.
Human.
I want to, again, thank you. You did a wonderful job as moderator, and we appreciate that. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this event. I'd like to thank Dr. Spelker for opening up the school for this event. In closing, I'd just like to say that the school is in a really wonderful place. And I really ask the community to try to keep politics out of the Board of Education. The Board of Education is not a place for partisan politics. It has led to infighting in Madison and in a lot of other districts. We don't need it here in Harding. I was just at the back-to-school barbecue a couple of weeks ago on a Friday evening, and I saw people out there, so many people I know in the community. I know some of them to be very liberal, I know some of them to be very conservative. Everyone was having a wonderful time together. Families were together, enjoying everyone's company, and there was no division based on whether you're Democrat, Republican, or whether you're somewhere in between. I would ask of the community to consider myself, Mr. Singh, for re-election, because we firmly believe that partisan politics has no place on the Board of Education. Thank you.
Thank you. Abhi Singh?
Again, I think I echo a lot of what Dr. Anastasio has said. Harding Township School is in a great place. It continues to be in a great place. It continues to deliver a great education to our kids. And I think it will continue to do that for the foreseeable future. Our kids at Madison High School continue to benefit from a very good education. I think we have to separate out what the issues are between the board level activities and the education that the kids are getting. As far as I know, and direct experience with the children of my friends, they are getting a great education. They're getting access to every program, every AP class, everything that you can possibly imagine. They even have the opportunity to go to college, get college courses if they so choose to, if they are so so motivated. And again, I keep repeating, the Harding Township Board is a policy-making body. Our job is to set the policy and not to get into the weeds on various issues that come up in the news and so on and so forth. Our job is to make it a stable vote that keeps going for years, not reacting to things that may pop up in the media all the time. We will continue to keep an eye on what's going on in Madison, and hopefully inform us, the community, on other options if they are so suitable in terms of what happens in the high schools. And I think it's very important to keep in mind, the school is very safe. We have a very secure school building and premises. We keep a very close eye on what's going on in the school. I think, the chief back there will agree that this is a great place, a very safe place to send your kids to school.
Thank you. George Boyan?
First of all, thank you to the League of Women Voters. Thank you to the NAACP and the New Jersey Media Group, the Observer Tribune. And thank you for everybody for coming out tonight. Again, my candidacy is one about questioning the status quo, seeking constant improvement. Harding is a special place. The Harding Township School is a special place. I'm not seeking to do anything to harm that, right? The first rule of medicine is to do no harm. But the fact is, I think we can do just a notch better when it comes particularly to the public high school. Number 40th in the state, not good enough for me. So I will go out of my way to build consensus around what I call Harding's core values: transparency, accountability, school safety, and parental rights. I agree, the Harding Township School is safe, but there's a reason why the Morris County Sheriff James Gannon has endorsed my campaign for school board. It's the only school board campaign that Sheriff Gannon has gotten involved with, and he's endorsed me based on my plan for school safety. So thank you everybody for coming. Thank you to Dr. Spelker and for your entire staff for what you do, and I look forward to the opportunity to earn each and every single one of your votes this November. Thank you.
Thank you. We'd like to remind voters that there are 3 ways that you can vote in the upcoming election. Vote by mail. Hopefully you've already received your ballot. It's got to be postmarked or placed in a secure drop box or delivered to the County Board of Elections office by 8 p.m. on November 7th, Election Day. The second way is in-person early voting. Early voting in New Jersey is from October 28th through November 5th, 10 to 8 on Friday and Saturday, and 10 to 6 on Sunday. Early voting location is Morristown Municipal Building, 200 South Street, Morristown. The third way is at your polling place. On Election Day on Tuesday, November 7th from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. I'd like to thank the candidates for their participation today, for deciding to serve the Harding Township school community, and thanks to those members of the community who submitted questions. Voting is your right and your responsibility. This is how we make democracy work. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of the Morristown area, the NAACP of Morristown, and the Observer Tribune of the New Jersey Hills Media Group, I hope you found this event an informative one. This forum was live streamed and is available for viewing on the League of Morristown Area's YouTube channel and website, and also on New Jersey League's website and vote411.org. I'd like to remind you that you can go to vote411.org, input your address, and you can see your ballot as it appears, and you can see how the candidates responded to the questions we asked them. All right? Thank you very much.